The English indefinite article can take two forms, a and an. These are called allomorphs. They are ultimately the same morpheme, having the same meaning and function, but are pronounced differently. Plenty of languages have allomorphs of a, like French un for masculine nouns and une for feminine ones, but we know that this isn't grammatical gender or anything in English, because we get an animal, but a jolly animal. So it's clearly not the word itself that decides what form of a gets used. No, the choice here is phonologically conditioned. A appears before a consonant, as in a dog, and un appears before a vowel, as in an idea. The form un is actually the older one and is cognate with German ein, Swedish n, and a doublet of one. Both are descended from the same word in Old English, where, just like in its Germanic cousins, the words for one and a used to be the same. It was in Middle English that un started getting weakened to just in front of consonants, although originally the consonant h was exempt from this. And it was until quite recently in official British English and in some dialects, which is where you get phrases like unhistorian or unhotel, though I for one haven't heard those very often in my lifetime. But in the creation of a, there was some confusion regarding words that began with n, because suddenly it wasn't always clear what word that n belonged to. This is where you get words like newt, from what was originally elt. An elt became a nelt, and then later a newt. This is reanalysis, which is a pretty terrible name. No one is reanalyzing anything. Generally, what linguists mean when they say reanalysis is not that one person sits down and thinks up a new way to analyze the phrase anelt, but rather they are referring to a speaker-listener interaction. A speaker will say a word with the current analysis in their head, the one they're familiar with, but if the listener doesn't know the word, like if they're a child or learner or just used to live in a village where there weren't any newts around, then all they get is a string of sounds and maybe the meaning from context, but not the morphemic breakdown. So they might analyse this as an elt, or they might analyse it as a newt, and apparently enough people did that because nowadays that's the word. And it happened the other way round, too. An adder was originally a nadder, cognate with the German natter or Swedish nedra or neder. This type of reanalysis is called rebracketing, where the listener forms a different hypothesis about the boundaries of a word or morpheme than the speaker had in mind. So was an apple originally a napple? Well, no. Apple is cognate with German Apfel, Swedish Äpple, Dutch Appel. There was never an N here, nor are there any dialects I know of which use the word Napple, reanalysed in the same way as newt from elt. I said earlier that the listener forms a hypothesis about the word bracketing, and the thing is, hypotheses can be disproved. If you're a child learning English and you hear an apple, sure, you might analyse it as a napple. But when you hear that same juicy fruit being referred to in the plural, your mum asks you if you'd like some apples, not some napples. Or she might point to the uneaten apple slices in your lunchbox and go, why haven't you eaten your apple, not your napple? So you make a new analysis that fits the new data you've heard, and reject your napple hypothesis. Confusingly enough, this instance of analysing anew is not in linguistics called reanalysis. But there you go, it's just called, learning, I guess. Now, we are wading into some pseudo-scientific territory here, but in my opinion, this a-an rebracketing seems much less likely to have occurred with more common words or words that were likely to be referred to in plural, like apples, because there would just have been too many chances to correct the quote-unquote faulty analysis. But I suppose they would have to have been words that were used just commonly enough to have the next generation pick up on them and pass on their own new analysis to their children. Either way, nowadays in English we're left with a sprinkle of words here and there that just have an N too few or too many.